Welcome to the Mental Alchemy channel, and I am Ekaterina Sophia. This is the Manifestation Alchemy class number 3, the practical application of alchemical manifestation. It's 2024 now, so I wish you a very happy new year and all the success in your alchemical practice. This is the third video on the Mental Alchemy channel, so the third class, and we will be covering 5 different topics. Originally, I thought to split it into 5 different videos, but I was concerned that it will create a mix-up in which order to do the videos. So it's going to be a long one. You can pause the videos at any time, and for the gratitude journaling, life review, goal setting, you will need a pen and paper or a device. You can be interrupted. There is no hypnotherapy or healing practices that need to have a peaceful environment. Please feel free to pause the video whenever you like and get back to it when it's convenient. Ideally, you should finish this video within a week maximum, so it's still fresh within your mind. And there will be timestamps for each of the sections if you want to come back to them and redo them, because these are not one-time practices, but practices that you can integrate either into your daily life, your monthly review, or as often as you like. If you hear any kind of sounds or snoring in the background, I apologize in advance. It's my dog. He's still a puppy, so the fact that he's asleep allows me to record this video. The 5 topics we will cover today are the practical application of the 4 manifestation principles, which were covered in the previous video, and integrated into the subconscious mind programming, hypnotherapy, meditation practice, the first video. Then we will cover the gratitude journaling and why it's important to practice gratitude and why is it the first step in your manifestation process. Then we will do the life review questionnaire, where you'll have the opportunity to answer a number of questions. You can pause the video, write down your answers. Then we will move to the goal setting exercise. Of course, you may not know exactly what goals you want to do, but hopefully the life review exercise will help you understand which kind of direction that you're moving in. And if you do know your exact goals, then the exercise is still very useful for you because it will help you prioritize and determine how much effort you're willing to put into them and your why. And lastly, the alignment to God's will and energy. It's basically the power of setting intention in practice to make sure that your goal is in alignment for the highest good and that you are not falling into the trap of manifesting something that's not going to make you happy long term or be good for your energy or soul. Practical application of the 4 manifestation principles. The 4 manifestation principles are as follows. Manifest in alignment with God's all-knowing perfect will. Manifest from God's infinite all-loving source of energy. Ensure the manifestation is in service to your highest good and in service to the betterment of the life on earth. Don't limit your manifestation to only what you can imagine it to be now. Manifest in alignment with God's all-knowing perfect will. In this case, we can describe God's will as the big picture of all that is needed for your growth. the perfect harmony of all that is, the manifestation beyond duality. Ultimately, it is love. In order to understand this better, we can use the example of there is no cold. You cannot measure cold. You can only measure the lack of heat. There is only heat. Likewise, there is no darkness. You cannot measure darkness. There is only light, and you can only measure the lack of light. And in the illusion of the duality of our reality, where there is good and bad, there is always only love. And if something doesn't seem good to us, then there is too little love there. And by allowing yourself, through setting the intention, to align to God's will, you bring in maximum love. To align to God's will, you simply set the intention by stating so. So you just say, I would like to have this, or whatever is determined for me, destined for me by God's will. This or something better as per God's will. You can use different kinds of terminology. By doing so, you allow God's will to override your own will and give you what is meant for you in a way that is meant to come to you. We can look to the Bible teaching on how it is best done. If we look at John from the King James Bible, and this is the confidence that we have in Him, that if we ask anything according to His will, He hears us. And if we know that He hears us, whatsoever we ask, we know that we have the petitions that we desired of Him. I'm not a theologian, and I'm not going to go into interpreting the Bible, but it's a good point to start your understanding of how to work with God's will, how to align all of your life to God's will, because ultimately it will give you the results that bring salvation, that bring self-realization, that bring joy to yourself and to the generations to come within your family. We can also look at Luke 22:42. This is a little bit more complex, but this is when Jesus is praying, knowing that He will have to suffer on the cross. And He says, Father, if you are willing, remove this cup from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but thy will be done. And so here it's a different example of where we know what God's will is, and perhaps it seems at the time overwhelming to follow through. And in this case, allowing God's will to overtake can give you the strength and purpose to continue in the direction that is needed. But these are complications that you will understand yourself as you reach there. For now, the practical application of this rule is simply to state that you wish for things to happen as per God's will. And that way you allow yourself to be guided to the right direction if what you wish is not quite correct for you. It may also just mean that it will not come true because you were saved from this manifestation. But this channel is here for the long term, at least for 1 year, I plan to make videos. I have 3 months of content written up, so we will have many of these discussions and guidance and practices that you can do in order to self-realize and align yourself to the highest will of your higher self, which is God's will. Manifest from God's infinite, all-loving source of energy. This is not something that you can have direct control over, but rather do all the other actions mentioned, especially giving it over to God to manifest for you in God's own will. An element of faith, hope, and the ability to review and redirect if necessary is necessary. Self-realization practices, fasting, prayer, and development of intuition are all helpful here. This channel is here to help with your alignment and self-realization. Yes, so there are many practices that have been done since ancient times to allow our consciousness to open up to something bigger than ourselves, to open up to the harmony, to the cycles of this planet, of the cosmos, to allow this, what we spoke about earlier, the infinite love, to enter your life, to enter your manifestations more. Of course, the most obvious way and the main self-realization practice that we will be focusing here on this channel is to alchemize your mind to become more and more love. The more you embody love, the more your manifestations naturally embody love. Ensure the manifestation is in service to your highest good and in service to the betterment of life on earth. Something to note here that I didn't write down on the slide, but is very important to remember, is that what is for your highest good does not necessarily need to look like it's for your highest good to others. Likewise, what is for your highest good may not be for somebody else's highest good in an exactly the same scenario. This is an important point to make, and I'll give an example. So, if you have decided to go through something very, very painful and very difficult, and you are doing it in a joyful state, and you love what is happening, even though it may look horrible from the outside to somebody else, it is for your highest good. Because maybe in that moment you're learning true patience, you're learning how to be forgiving, you're learning how to embody love. Whereas if somebody else is going through this and there they are becoming a victim, they're suffering, they are becoming toxic, full of hate, turning to drugs or alcohol to help themselves and escaping making decisions or something like this, then it's not of service to them. So when judging whether something is of service to you, it has to be of service internally, not what it looks like externally. Just like it might be of service to a person to receive something good that we think is a luxury that somebody needs, and it could make you, for example, if you receive this luxury, more creative and happy, whereas somebody else, it might spoil them, it might make them turn away from their true purpose, it might make them ungrateful and rude to others. So the point of the service to yourself is that it has to be of the internal service rather than a generic meeting of basic needs, of survival needs. Not that there's anything wrong with meeting them, but when we apply this test, we do it from the point of view of our own internal growth and our own internal world. And are we able to achieve this goal while still being nice to our family? Are we able to be loving and kind while making difficult decisions, and so on? Okay. You can know if your manifestation wish is in service to your self-realization and in service to the betterment of life on earth by understanding the outcome it will have in the short and long term. The best way to do it, in my opinion, is by looking to the history. When I say look into the history, you can look at examples of other people who have manifested this and what effect did it have on their lives and their environment. Of course, that doesn't have to happen to you. You can learn from their mistakes and make different outcomes. And getting a second opinion from at least two different kind of people whose life you admire. So why two different types of people? Because they will give you two different opinions, which you can then use to make a good decision. And it's very, very important that you admire their life. You may not want their life, but you respect their life. Because if you ask somebody whose life you don't like, then their opinion is not going to be helpful to you. Because they will give you an opinion based on what they're creating and how they're creating. And if you might not want their exact life, but you do need to admire their achievements. And lastly, something that we will speak a lot about on this channel and do many practices of is journaling. Journaling different types of questions, like, is this goal bringing me closer to what will truly make me happy? Will future generations be harmed, benefit, not be affected by this? I think the second question about the future generations is especially important if you're looking to make money or create some kind of material wealth, because then you can have the test to see, is it good for the earth? Is it good for the environment? Is it good for the society, etc.? I'm sure that many people who had done things in the past were convinced that they were being progressive and it was wonderful. But only now we look back to see that horrific crimes against humanity or nature were done. So that's why it's important to look to history and imagine future outcomes. Don't limit your manifestation to only what you can imagine it to be now. The best practice, in my opinion, to avoid limiting your manifestations are meditation. Meditation is a very powerful practice to override your subconscious programming and tap into your higher state of being. Both guided meditation and stillness allows you to tap into that true love state and develop the focused attention to self-realize, to understand yourself, to build a different kind of relationship with your environment, rather than being constantly bombarded by life and all the different information coming at you. Meditation can really allow you to tap into something that is way beyond your imagination. Childlike play opens up in us that healed child state that believes in infinite potential, that believes in every kind of outcome. It is the innocent part of ourselves that hasn't been tinted by trauma. Creativity, practicing, cooking, drawing, writing, any kind of creative activity always taps into other facets of our brain that we don't normally use, and can also help to expand the borders of our rigid current state. Develop your clear knowing, clear vision, clear feeling, clear seeing, and clear hearing. In other words, opening up a dialogue with God and heavenly forces. So this is the development of your intuition, the development of your psychic gifts. If this is a path you wish to take, it's not necessary to develop your psychic gifts, but we all have them. And through the practices like meditation, conscious manifestation, mental alchemy, and so on, these things will happen naturally, but also setting the intention to hear the voice of love, to be the voice of higher reason, to be the voice of higher truth, both inside your head and then externally, will also expand and align you. Spending time in nature. Nature holds the codes of all creation, just like we do. Being made in God's image, we are creator, infinite love beings. And nature is created in perfect harmony with itself. And when it's not harmonious, it naturally harmonizes itself. And spending time in nature is very healing and opening, and reminds us of what love is and why we're here. We are now at part 2 of this class, which is titled Gratitude. The ultimate aim is to be grateful for everything that happens in your life. There is a Russian story of a sage who is grateful for everything in his life. He praises God for anything good that happens and anything bad that happens, because he chooses to see that the bad has also been good for him, because it has given way for something good later to come, or has provided a particular lesson. So our ultimate state of gratitude as a mental alchemist, turning our mind into gold, and as a result our life into gold, from just a basic life to full self-realization, we must be grateful and see that even things that are considered bad simply lack enough love and carry a lesson, and carry in them a deeper understanding, or serve as a doorway to something better, as a redirection to a path that is right. There is great power in making a daily gratitude list, especially when you are feeling down. Where our attention goes, our energy flows. So if you're feeling low, or you need a reason to feel uplifted and you simply can't find one, then I recommend that the next practice that we will do, the 10 things that you are grateful for, you make this list every single day. And when you're feeling better, you continue to make the list for another few days. And then you repeat to do it on your monthly review basis or a weekly basis, depending what serves you best. I'm not sure where it's from, but I think it's a Buddhist saying where a wise man or a monk also says that you must meditate 20 minutes a day. And if you haven't got time to meditate for 20 minutes a day, then you must meditate for an hour a day. Which makes sense, because if your life is so overwhelmed and you're out of balance, then you must take extra time of self-care in form of reprogramming your mind. And when you're feeling down and you really don't want to write a list of anything that you're grateful for or what you need, that's when you need it the most. And you must find the motivation inside yourself to make this list. When I make the gratitude list, I always write at the top, "Thank you, God, for everything." Like we spoke in the earlier slide, just to remind us that all the good and the less good experiences we must be grateful for because they carry us forward and bring meaning and learning into our life. The gratitude list is very simple. It's just 10 things that you're grateful for. They can be as generic as "I'm grateful for my life," "I'm grateful that I woke up this morning," or they can be more descriptive of "I'm grateful that I ate this particular dish," "I'm grateful that I met with this person," "I'm grateful for my um, loved ones, pets, items." It can be as varied as you are, and there is absolutely no judgment here. It is your private list, and anything that makes you happy, anything that brings gratitude into your heart. And the feeling of being grateful is very similar to a feeling of joy. So anything that brings you joy, write it down. And that's the end of this section. We're now at part 3 of the class, which is the life review questionnaire. Here you will have 12 different slides of a variety of different questions. You can pause on each slide, write down your answers, and then continue. Asking yourself particular questions and writing down the answer can give you an insight to how you really feel and help you get a photo shot of your life currently. Self-discovery is a process, and this is one of the processes that really helps. And only once you've discovered things, then you are able to change them or take them into consideration and have a realistic view of where you're at. It is better to write down your answer or to journal them because you are able to see things from a second mind perspective. After I started teaching journaling and practicing a lot of it myself, I realized that when you write things down, it's a completely different experience to having the conversation in your head. Because, first of all, you're able to read what you're writing down. And that's what I call the second mind perspective. As you're reading what you're writing down, you start to see it outside of the emotional response in which you are thinking it, from which you're writing it down. So I do recommend that you write down these answers, and in your free time or now as you pause each section, you can expand on your answer as much as you like. How is my relationship with myself? Give yourself a score, 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest, and then answer the second question of what can I improve? So just before you pause this video and begin to write your answers, I'd like to give you a little example of how I would answer a question or how I would guide in my session, a private session for somebody to answer this question. How's my relationship with myself? Do you like what you see in the mirror? Do you have a positive inner voice that supports you? Do you have social anxiety and give too high a weight to other people's opinions? You can know this if you play back conversations in your head from um, that from your earlier in the day experiences. Do you double check yourself over the time? Do you um, need other people's opinion to confirm that you're right or good enough, and things like this? And then uh, what can I improve? So, for example, if I wrote that I have a negative self-talk in relation to my physical appearance, then I would write what can I into the what can I improve. I would write, I wish to have an accepting and loving inner voice. When I see myself in the mirror, I wish to see what is beautiful about me. I wish to accept how I look, for example. If you have a negative self talk generally, then what you might want to improve would be I would like to be less critical of myself and of others. I would like to see the positive in the situation. How are my finances? I think this question is quite obvious. Um, Again, score 1 out of 10, and what can I improve? How much finances we need in order to feel secure really depends on all of us. For some, having zero in the bank account but having a job is secure enough. For others, people need a amount saved in their bank account to feel secure. Try and be honest to yourself about this. Try and remember a time when you did feel financially secure. What did it take? Did you need to have a month worth of living um, expenses in your account? Do you need to just have a stable job? Do you need to have a whole year's worth of expenses of savings? And so on. Do I communicate well with others? Am I able to express myself honestly? Um, there'll be a number of questions that are double questions, and you can rate and score them separately, or if you feel they are linked for you, then you can score them as one. What does it mean, do I communicate well with others? Do you feel that you are understood, that you're able to express yourself, that you get the reaction from other people that you wish you would get when you communicate with them? And am I able to express myself honestly? Means, are you able to express who you truly are? Are you able to be funny and creative in your conversation? Or do you have to make sure that you don't say something particular, or you don't show yourself in a particular way, or you don't talk about certain things that you do? And if your score is low, um, think about what is it that you can improve in this. Um, Perhaps you can listen better, or make people feel more safe in the conversation, or say things in a more clear way. Perhaps even change the way that you speak, your tone of voice, or the language that you use if people are not taking your communication well and have expressed to you what the problem is. And if you are not able to express yourself honestly, then perhaps you can improve your circle of friends, um, become more active in some kind of group where people share your interests, so that you are able to have an outlet and show the world who you truly are. How do I feel in my home and my family environment? Your home and family environment might be linked. But also you can give it 2 separate scores. How do you feel in your home? Do you feel safe? Do you feel comfortable? Do you like the decoration? Does it meet your needs? Is it the right level of tidy? Do you feel secure? Do you like the location? Do you get on with the neighbors, for example? And your family environment, I would say that this question is more based to your home, unless you spend a lot of time with your family outside of your own home, or your family has a very big impact on your life, even if you don't live together. Do you feel that majority of the time you're understood, you're loved, accepted? Are you able to express your emotions? Are you overly critical, or are you overly criticized? What is the general score of the environment? Is it healthy? Is it accepting? Is it everything that you want? And if it's not, what can you improve? So it's quite important here to write about what you can improve rather than focus on what other people can do differently. And if it is other people who are causing you the problem, then it's still what can you improve, even if it means changing that environment, or how can you communicate with them in a way that they allow you to have a new experience. Am I having fun and being creative? You can also give 2 separate scores for this one, or one single one. For me, having fun and being creative is usually the same thing. Are you having extracurricular activities? Are you taking time to do things that spark in you that childlike joy? Perhaps if you're not, then it's something that you want to add. And if you're not having this kind of fun, sometimes it can be quite hard to add it, because maybe you have the mindset where these kind of activities, they don't actually bring anything forward. Maybe they don't make any money. Maybe they're just a waste of time. Maybe you'd rather just watch TV. But they are very, very important to nurture your child self in order to make you feel alive and creative and happy overall, and for you to get these happy hormones from positive activity rather than looking to substances such as sugar and drink and drugs and so on, or even toxic relationships that can give this rush of temporary excitement. If you have realized that you're not being creative and you have no idea how to be creative, then you might think to yourself, well, what possibly can I do to experience this kind of joy? Well, one of the things that you can do immediately and write down is think about what brought you the most fun as a child. Was it playing with others? Was it drawing? Was it going on trips? Whatever it is. And maybe try coming back to this. But we will do more videos on this channel about having fun and being creative, for sure. Am I healthy, and am I being of service to the community? Although it might seem like it's strange to merge these two together, health and service to the community are linked very much, because when we're healthy, we are in service to our own body in a very positive way. We take steps in order to take care of it. We take steps in order to exercise it, to feed it well. And when we're being of service to the community, we do the same thing. We take steps to be of service in some way, to feed others or to improve something, to listen to others, just like we listen to our own body. So here I'd recommend that you give 2 separate scores, one about your health and one about your bringing some kind of service to the community. Is my life in harmony? Do I have balance in my relationships and work? It's a really big question, and I think you just have to go for a very short score and short answer at the beginning, and then you can expand it, just so that you can go with your initial feeling, because it's a very, very big topic. What does it mean for your life to be in harmony? Do you feel that you have time to spend with your friends, with your loved ones, with yourself? Taking self-care, relationship with yourself is also a relationship. And you're progressing well at your work? Or is there one part of your life, so if you took a whole chart of different areas of your life, is there one part that scores the highest or the least? So it's all about the overall balance in your life. Is there something that you do far more of than anything else? And what can you improve? So, for example, if you work all the time, then you can improve spending more time with your friends and family. If you spend all the time with your friends and family and you work, then perhaps you need to take some time in order to be by yourself and take time out for self-care. If you do a lot of self-care, but you don't actually exercise, so maybe you need to take some time out in nature and exercise, which means that if your day is full already, you're going to have to do a bit less of something else or become more efficient in your time management. Am I taking time to meet my self-care needs? What is self-care? Self-care is eating well, meditating, doing practices like we have on this channel, basically caring for yourself, especially if you are a very empathic, caring person and you give a lot of yourself to others. A good question you can ask yourself is, am I giving as much energy and time to myself as I have been giving to this other person or this other group of people? And if the answer is no, then you should probably take some time to schedule in daily self-care, because you can't give from an empty cup. If you desire romance, how is my romantic life? Romantic life is part of balanced and harmonious connection with others and, well, other. And this question is, I guess, could be literally like sensual romantic life. It could be the need for intimacy, closeness. If you are looking for this from another person, you can give it a score out of 10 and see what you can improve. Maybe you wish to have more time with your significant other, or maybe you need to set time to find a significant other. Or maybe you need to think of a different way of spending time with a significant other so that you can get this connection. Am I taking time to learn and explore? So if you're watching this video, then probably yes, you are taking time to learn. But learning can be anything. Learning new work skills, learning from your environment, learning new recipes to cook, learning to garden, anything. It's very, very important for us to always be learning, because it develops our brain and makes us stay alive and gives us purpose. And explore. So exploring is also a form of learning, but in order to expand your consciousness, you must explore, travel, meet other kinds of people, even explore your own neighborhood, see different kind of things in order to open up your perspective. So what can you improve? If you're not learning much, then maybe you can learn something. Write down that you'll do a course or read a book. If you're not exploring, then maybe you can improve by setting aside some time to walk around your neighborhood to places you haven't been, or go on some kind of adventure. Go and talk to some people you haven't ever spoken to before. Explore their world and perspective. Am I meeting my goals? Do I have many achievements? So one way to know whether you're meeting your goals, especially if you haven't been actively writing them down and then going back and reviewing them, is by seeing your achievements. Achievements don't necessarily have to be certificates. They can be achievements that you have started exercising daily over the past many months, or you have started eating more healthy, or you have finished a particular course, or you have improved your communication and relating to others. Achievements can be anything, whatever you consider as an achievement. And what can you improve? If you haven't been meeting your goals, then being more serious about using your willpower to move through these things, maybe reconsider what it is that you're setting goals for. Maybe it's not something you're actually interested or motivated to do. Maybe they're unrealistic. If you don't feel like you have many achievements, then probably you're wrong and have a low self-esteem and seeing yourself badly, because we all have small achievements every single day. So I would really go back into your life and view it from a second mind perspective of seeing it as if somebody else had your life, what achievements would you see in their life? Do I have a circle of friends and a community I can thrive in? Many of us have many friends and a community, but we don't necessarily thrive in them. And many of us have a few very wonderful friends and a community that those friends may or may not be part of. It could be a community like a church community, a hobby community, a yoga community, a work community that you thrive in. To thrive in a group of people or with a friend, it means that you're able to express yourself freely. When you come home, you feel uplifted, even if you're tired. You feel happy and joyful. Like somebody said to me, I think it was a Mimi on Facebook at some point as well. If you feel depressed, before you get medicated, make sure you're not hanging around with really shitty people. So, yeah. And what can you improve? Well, if your score is quite low, then clearly your whole circle of friends and maybe the community you live in. It does seem like a very big and drastic change, but sometimes that's exactly what it takes to be happy. Am I looking beyond the material world and developing my inner world? If you're here, then I suspect yes, but you still may wish to score yourself on how far you're going with this based on your expectations and which areas you would like to improve upon. So the material world is your basic needs, food, shelter, things you want to buy, and so on. Your inner world is your inner dialogue, your experience of the outer world from the inside? Are you confident? Are you happy? Are you able to express yourself because you have developed this rich inner world? Are you able to spend a lot of time by yourself without feeling lonely? Are you able to have constructive inner voice conversations and so on? And the final part of the questionnaire is the overview question based on what you have answered. How satisfied am I with my life overall? So, on a day-to-day basis, how do you feel based on how you answer the questions? How do you feel? If you imagined your life as a young child, as it is now, like when you were little and you imagined your life now, would you think it's a great life? Is it something that you would be impressed about, happy about? Or are there things that you can improve? And that's the end of this section. We're now in the fourth section of this class, goal setting. Here we will look at your current life's priorities, why these are your priorities, if your priorities match what you wish to manifest in your life or what is important to you, what actions you will need to take to achieve your goals, and look at a realistic assessment of your ability to achieve the set goals, and ask of you for a commitment and an action that you can take today so that you can start the process. Key priorities review. Either side, the columns either side of the middle one, you see examples that I have filled in. You can pause this video and have a look at the slide if you cannot answer the questions easily. The area of your life, so for example, career, love life, relationship, friendships, health, finances, anything that you can think of, you write that down on the top. Then you give the description of the priority. So for example, I wrote career, which is the area of my life. My priority is to share my knowledge with others. So if it's finances, the priority can be to make more money or to save more money if you don't want to make more money. I'm always an advocate of making more money if possible. Why is it a priority? So I need to feel like I am being purposeful. So why is it a priority to you? So for example, if it's finances, because I wish to feel safe or I wish to buy something particular, do you have an action plan for this priority? So it's either yes or no, and you can give a summary of your action plan, or you can give a summary of how you wish to come up with your action plan and put that onto your to-do list. How will focusing on this improve my life? So this is really important. How will it improve your life? And you need to be as honest as possible. And if your answer that it will not actually improve your life very much, then maybe it shouldn't be a key priority, but only a secondary priority. Why these are your priorities? Make a list of your priorities or goals, if they're already goals that have been formed, with the most important one on the top. So you already made a analysis of all the different priorities. Maybe the last question in each section will allow you to know if it actually improves your life, and it should be a key priority. And now make a list just of the names of each of the goals or priorities in order of importance, the most important one being at the top. Once you've done that, write a short explanation about why these are your priorities and why the most important one is the most important one. Even if the work slightly overlaps the previous exercise, it doesn't matter. It's good to go over it and see it from different points of view and write it again, because it brings you to greater and greater clarity of knowing what you want. And then finally, do these goals match what you wish to improve in your life overall? So if you remember back in section 3, where we were doing the life review and asking various questions, you wrote a score on your life quality overall and which areas you wish to focus to improve. Do these goals reflect this? This part might take you a little bit of time, and it's a good idea to do it properly so that you can answer the next question, the next slide, accurately. What actions will you need to take to achieve your goals? The actual actions you will need to take to achieve your goals. So the plan that you have, that maybe you already wrote a couple of slides ago in the questions, or maybe it's something that you're going to have to come up with to have an idea or research on how you can achieve what it is that you want to achieve, practical steps. And then the second question, based on the first one, understanding what the practical steps are, is the actions you will need to take to make room in your life to take the actions to achieve the goal. So you have the actions that you want to do to achieve the goal. And then you have your life as a whole, with your responsibilities, with the things that you do already. What do you need to do to make room to take the actions to achieve that goal? So, for example, if your goal is a fitness goal, and the steps to achieve that goal will be to go to the gym every day for 1 hour, then your actions to make room to achieve that goal would be setting aside time to drive to the gym and back from the gym, or walk to anyway, to get to the gym and back from the gym, setting aside that hour at the gym, taking into account any kind of physical recovery you may have. So then if you have like a physical job that you do, or you have a young family for which you have to do a lot of activity for, are you going to be able to fit in that extra rest time from training every day? The money that you will need to budget in order to pay for the gym subscription, and general like motivation to do it. You have to make room for this motivation, so you need to review your life. Like if you don't even exercise at all now, what are you going to have to do to make room for this new thing to happen? Maybe you'll have to change your diet and eat like less junk food that makes you more tired and less active. Maybe you have to change your circle of friends. Maybe you watch a lot of TV or play video games, so you'll have to cut off the time from that so you can have the motivation to do this. So I think you get the idea. For some of your priorities or goals, maybe you don't have all of this information, so you can go back to this part and then finish the questions in relation to that. But for some of them you might, so you can just continue now with the ones that you have enough information for, and go and do your research, analyze your schedules and what changes that you'll need to make, and then come back to finish this video. to rewatch the steps again. So you would have discovered from the previous slide what it is that you need to do in order to be able to achieve your goals. And you know yourself, and I know that you want to be the absolute best version of yourself. However, we have to be realistic, to be kind to ourselves, and set realistic expectations for ourselves. So this section is called Realistic Assessment of Your Ability to Achieve Your Goals. Can you really commit to what you have planned, or do you need to extend the time frame in which you wish to achieve your goal? Or focus on just one goal at a time, or change your goal for now? So, for example, if you wanted to get fit, like we can continue with the previous example, as quickly as possible. It's 2 months till the summer. You want to have that beach body and everything. But for the last 10 years, you've been eating, I don't know, a bucket of KFC every day. Can you realistically achieve your goal while still living a good and healthy life, while still pursuing your self-realization, and so on? Miracles do happen, and we are capable of everything. So I allow you to make this assessment. And of course, you can always reassess, but it's, from my experience, it's always better to set like small, realistic steps to achieve your goal. So then you can have the satisfaction of each time you achieve that step, rather than setting this huge goal, which is going to take you years to achieve and you see no results at all. So maybe if your goal is really big and it can seem overwhelming and you are questioning yourself whether you can achieve it or not, but you definitely want it, then maybe try and break down your goal into smaller sections of smaller goals. And then write down the steps that it will take for you to achieve that smaller goal and what changes you need to make in your life, and then reassess, is it realistic for you to do these changes? And if it's really not realistic at all, like you just are not going to have the time, or you don't are going to have the finances, or whatever it is, then allow this goal to exist for you, but focus on what it is that's preventing you from achieving it. So create a secondary goal of getting more money if the finances are in the way, or create a goal of making more time, and so on. But this is really important. And if the tasks that are there that you've realized that, like if the actions that are there that you realize that you have to do in order to achieve your goal, and you just do not see that you're ever going to do them, and it's not something that you will enjoy, then maybe that goal isn't for you, or the path that you think that you need to take to achieve that goal isn't the right one, and you need to do more research. You can ask yourself, why do I want this? Is it social pressure? Is it something that I've always been taught that I should want? And maybe you will discover that you don't want this at all, or you want something else. And then the last point is, you wrote your why, and why will improve your life. And it's really important to keep hold of this why, because the why will be what gives you the drive to move forward on the hardest of days. But also, your why can be a really good test to understand if your goal is actually what you really want. So if I can give you an example, if your goal is to get more money, and then you ask yourself, why do I need more money? And then you say, so that I can have a big house. And you can ask yourself, why do you need a big house? So that my family and I can live there and really enjoy our time. Well, why do you need a big house for your family to live there and enjoy your time? And then the answer can be because we don't all have our own personal space. And in order to enjoy our time, we all need to have our own set space. And then that's fine. And that's a really great goal. But now that you know that your primary goal is for everybody to have their own set space, you can have that as a goal. And maybe you can achieve that way faster. Of course, you can focus on getting the finances too, but maybe you'll be able to do certain renovations or divide up the house, or even when you're looking to purchase a house, your goal is very, very clear, so you'll know what you're looking for it in there. Alternatively, if you say, I want to have a really big house because I just want to spend a lot of time with my family and have a really good time, and then you say, well, why do you need a big house for that? And then you'll say, oh, actually, I don't need a big house. I just want to spend time with my family. And I associated having a big house with having a lot of money and being able to have more free time. And then you'll understand that your goal is contradicting what you actually want. So if you want to spend a lot of more time in the office or whatever it is that you do, and that's going to take away from your primary goal of having more time with your family. So you can then have clarity to know that you are looking for more finances, but maybe as a passive income or alternative income that you can make working from home, that you do spend time with your family, and so on. And also make immediate changes of prioritizing that time with your family. But anyway, back to this point, a realistic assessment of your ability to achieve your goals, understanding your why, understanding if you can make the commitment that you listed previously, and just being very honest with yourself if that's what you really want, or do you need to review those goals and priorities. We're in the final part of this section and almost at the end of the class. A commitment and action you can take today. A commitment with yourself right now that you plan to achieve this goal. It is important to give clear instruction to your mind of what you would like to achieve. Your mind is a sponge, it listens to every single word you say. So just take a moment and write down and say out loud and then feel it that you commit, that you intend to achieve this particular goal, the one on top of your priority. And your mind will hear you and start to see opportunities for you to achieve this, because we see so much information all the time that the mind has to filter it through of what's important to us in order to not overwhelm us with information. As you notice, you speak about something and then you start to notice it, or you get some information and then all of a sudden it actually manifests in your reality in different forms. And so by setting this commitment, by setting this intention to achieve this goal, writing it down, saying it out loud, really feeling it in your imagination, in your emotions, in your body, your mind's going to know that it needs to bring this information that's to do with this goal to you. And information is opportunities, is doors that can lead you to achieve it much faster and easier than you can even imagine. Number 2, what action can you take right now to solidify your commitment to your goal? So it's very good imagining things, saying them and writing them, but action says that you mean business. What is the one action that you can take right now? Is it make a phone call? If it's about building a particular habit, going and doing that. Like if we continue with our example that you want to go and do exercise, I don't know, maybe go and do like 10 squats right now, just to solidify your intention to achieve this particular goal. We are on the final slide of the class, alignment to God's will and energy. So you've done the monumental work. Congratulations for going all the way through. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, there will be timestamps that I believe that you can click on to redo any of the practices that you wish to do over and over again, because they are reusable. Alignment to God's will and energy. We cannot possibly know that we are definitely aligned to God's will and energy, but we can set the intention to be. We can do the practices to become more and more love. And we must take actions. We give it over to God. So right now, breathe it out, give it all over to God, and know that it will manifest in the perfect divine order. This, what you have wished for, or something better. But you must take actions. You must take guided actions. And your actions may align to God's will and they may not. And by practices of self-realization and practicing your intuition and inner knowing, you will see, you will feel if your actions are right. And by your results and how the results make you feel, you will know if your actions are right. And it's a process of trial and error and learning to hear that voice of love within. And yes, it is complicated, but that's the whole point of this life. If you already knew, it would probably be a bit boring. So that's the part of growth. Unless you already love, I guess it's not boring to be all love. Ask for God's will to take precedent in this goal and your life. So as we mentioned earlier in the class, set the intention, write it down, that you wish for this to be as per God's will, that you give it over to this higher manifestation of love, that you are willing to be surprised with this or something even better. You can also take time to pray for help and assistance to achieve this, so you never feel alone. Give thanks for everything. Just give thanks for everything in this moment. Breathe it out. Feel this joy. Feel this gratitude for the practice that you've done, for the ideas that you've had, for the actions that you're planning to take, and the clarity you will receive. And then probably the most important thing, which we haven't spoken about today, is breathe. There will be many, many more classes on this channel about the power and importance of your breath rhythm and different breath exercises and the meaning of breath. So just take a moment to breathe in deeply. Hold your breath for a moment and then let it go. Reset yourself completely. Be ready to face the world. And I look forward to seeing you in the future videos. And I really wish that this has been very useful to you. Although it has been a little bit long, that you can really benefit from this practice and start your 2024 off to a good start. And if you're watching this later, start off your good start wherever you're starting off to the most beautiful land of love that you can create here in this reality.